everyone, and welcome to the Perinatal Roundtable, where we talk about all things pregnancy and postpartum. I'm Abby, a pelvic floor physical therapist and a mom of 3, and I started this series because I believe every mom deserves to have a village of experts in her back pocket. And today, I'm so thrilled to introduce Addie Vasquez, a certified birth doula, student midwife, and director of operations at Moby Nurses. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Miss Addie, tell me a little bit more about what Moby Nurses is.
So Moby Nurses, Inc. is a nonprofit organization here in Columbus, Ohio that offers free doula support to the community. We are reimbursed by Medicaid and by grant funding. So if you're in need of a doula and you can't afford one, we're here for you because we also facilitate things like community resources. We kind of verge on the line of social work. So if you need help applying for WIC, we're there for you for 8 hours of prenatal support, however you need that support with education, information, and just overall connecting you to the things that you need. We're there for in-person birth support for as long as you need, up to 2 hours postpartum. And then you also get 8 hours of postpartum support as well to help facilitate that transition to life with your new baby. So if you're in need of a doula, reach out to Moby Nurses, Inc. We've got your back.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I have been seeing you post almost every day that you've attended a birth. How is being a student midwife? Because it looks like you are attending birth after birth after birth.
So a lot of my births I have actually through the nonprofit Moby Nurses, Inc. So I'm majorly in a doula support role, but I have been attending births out in Findlay, Ohio with a midwife as a student. She's my preceptor. And the experience from walking from a doula to a student midwife has been like, I thought that I had it down, but it's such a different role when you're going from supporting to managing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. What surprised you about kind of going into that student midwifery role?
I guess how hands-off it is. Being a person who supports someone in the hospital quite frequently, it has definitely opened my eyes to how much we manage birth in the hospital setting. And with the midwifery clients, it's literally just you step back, you let the mama do her thing, and you step in when you need to. So I said earlier managing, but we're really not. We're just monitoring.
Yeah.
So from going as a doula, you're super hands-on, you're using all your muscles, you're being a supportive person emotionally, physically, having all that information down so that you can support your client, and then to being a midwife where you're doing all that prenatally so that they have those tools in their pockets. And then when you get to the birth, you're just there and you're experiencing it for all that it is and all that of its raw and beauty. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's awesome. Great. Let's go ahead and jump right into the next question. What do you wish people told clients earlier to prepare for pregnancy and postpartum?
For pregnancy, that they are the sole care provider for their baby. They are in charge of the better outcomes. So whatever they do prenatally, whatever they don't do prenatally is what dictates their outcome. They are in charge of their health and wellness. They cannot rely on an OB or a midwife or anyone else to dictate how well their pregnancy is going to go. They need to take accountability and responsibility for what they are and aren't doing in pregnancy to prepare for that childbirth, especially for the healthy growth of their baby. Postpartum, I say that people expect too much. They expect too much of themselves. They expect too much of their partners. They expect too much of their baby. If they can go into postpartum with an open mind and a blank slate, if they can just release all expectations, that would make everything so much easier, and so much more streamlined and so much more, I guess, better for their mental health, without all those expectations put on themselves, their partner, and their baby. Because this is a whole new life. It's a whole new world, no matter how many kids you have. If this is your first or your 8th, they're all different. And not putting those expectations that other people put into your mind or that you have is really important.
Yeah, what an important piece of advice. So important. What do you tell parents that are getting ready to have a baby or getting ready to prepare for postpartum and are just overwhelmed by all the information? Because you mentioned, can't rely on OBs. You can't rely on midwives. You can't rely on other people. You really need to know what's going to be best for you. But as new parents are looking at all the options, it's easy to get overwhelmed. What advice do you give them?
My favorite acronym in the healthcare world is BRAIN. The benefits, the risks, the alternatives, intuition, and what is doing nothing. What does that look like? When you have all that information, you can make the most informed choice for yourself. And that informed choice might not be the same informed choice as another person. So whenever you take accountability and responsibility for your own pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, using that BRAIN acronym can really help you get to the answers quicker. And one of my really close doula friends, she also adds an S at the end, which is space. What happens if you just give space? So just take 5 minutes, think about your options. Nothing needs to be made in the here and now. If you can take 5 minutes, then that's the best.
I love that. I love that. It's such a short, easy tool to use for parents who are already overwhelmed to help them make smart decisions. I love that.
Yeah, and people think that you can only use it in prenatal care or labor and delivery, but honestly, if you take it with you to postpartum, it's a great tool.
It's a parenting tip, really.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
Yes, and you can use that for anything, like even when your children are older, whenever they're making choices that you might not agree with, you can use that to kind of retrain your mind on letting them be people.
Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Now, as you're seeing clients, what's your biggest tip for people to do maybe during pregnancy to help them get ready and prepared for that early postpartum period?
Nutrition. I can tell you that the epitome of all good birth outcomes is nutrition. And regular exercise. And I'm not saying go out and run 12 miles, just take a walk every day. A mile is fine. Being aware and in tune with what you're putting into your body. That makes postpartum a lot easier. And then it also brings that pattern of nutrition into your postpartum, which allows you to heal faster. And it allows you to heal in a way that you're not just feeling sluggish and run down. Nutrition, with all the vitamins and minerals that we have, it's very important to kind of focus on that, because a lot of people, they just, they're not hungry during pregnancy, or they're just finding comfort foods. If they focus on the good in the food that they're eating, then that enables their body to kind of I don't know, like just flourish.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite resource that you give to your clients on nutrition? Like, is there a website or a book that you recommend?
So I actually have recently delved into the Brewer's diet.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that diet, so tell me more.
Essentially, what it does is it takes it kind of puts together the ideal nutrition for a pregnant person, and it allows their body to balance those vitamins and minerals in a way that kind of they've even shown that it lessens the instances of preeclampsia, and it lessens the need for medical intervention. Just having the optimal nutrition is literally the epitome of the perfect birth. Just because your baby has grown in a healthy manner, the placenta is healthy, you're healthy, your family is probably healthy by default also. And it also helps your brain kind of relax and not be so high strung, because you're putting those essential nutrients and minerals into your body in a natural way. And so you don't really need all these extra supplements and all these extra medications.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I'll have to do a little bit more research into that. You said it was called the Brewer's diet?
Yes. So I'm very, very new to it. Like, I don't even have the book yet. I just ordered it, but I've been doing a lot of research on it online. And actually, the midwife that I work with, she actually follows the Brewer's diet for her clients.
Nice. Okay. Now, we had talked a little bit about just preparing for postpartum and, just having different expectations for that newborn phase. What are some signs that someone might need a little extra support during that phase?
I would say the first initial inkling that I ever find is resentment, whether that's towards yourself, towards your partner or towards your baby. And I want to say that it is completely okay if you feel resentment towards either of those, because it's a completely natural and normal physiological process to be as a human being. Okay. We all feel resentment sometimes, but if it's not something that ebbs and flows, if it's something that stays with you, this tightness in your chest or this frustration that just doesn't go away, then it's something that needs to be pinpointed and talked about. A lot of people, they either blame themselves or they blame their baby or they blame their partner for however they're feeling. So whenever you start to feel like you're just not yourself or you're just not connecting in the way that you thought, I think that's really important. And I do want to say that not everyone instantly sees their baby and is automatically in love. Okay. That's just not realistic for everyone. Like for me, for example, it took me months before I was like, okay, this is my baby and I love her. Of course, I had the automatic instinct to protect and provide for her, but it was like someone handed me a stranger and was like, okay, now love them. And it's like,
yeah,
it's like a random stranger on the street and they're like, okay, now you have to love this person. And it's not ideal, I guess you could say. But once you find that rhythm, once you find that space to be able to connect, I think things go a little smoother.
Yeah, it's so true. I think that's what you see like on social media and like love at first sight, but that's not the case for everyone. And that's really okay. We have to normalize
is
that a little
okay.
more. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I tell all my clients that I'm like, you're going to love your baby on an animalistic level. You're going to want to protect them and provide for them, but you might not feel that starry butterfly feeling. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you don't like your baby. It just means that you need to get to know them a little bit more.
Yeah. And I find that happens when I have clients that have had, especially a more traumatic birth experience, because I think their body is just responding to the trauma they just experienced.
Absolutely.
And so to really like integrate in that new feeling of like, oh my gosh, I love them so much. It's just a lot to ask your whole body, your brain, your nervous system, and your body to do when you're just in this kind of like fight, flight, or freeze stage where your body's just trying to process that. And so it really is normal.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with my first one. I had a really traumatic first birth and there was just a disconnect. Like there was a distance between us. And if it wasn't for my husband, like managing and kind of molding that relationship between us, then I don't know where I'd be today. But I'm really glad. I'm glad for that experience because I'm able to kind of empathize with other people about it.
Yeah. I love that your husband was there for you guys.
Oh my gosh.
Like, what are some things that he did to help get through that kind of first phase where you were just in that trauma phase? What are some things he did?
So I struggled with postpartum depression for 5 years. And so as you can imagine, those first few weeks were really rough and then it just got worse. There was a point where I was almost catatonic, where I was just in the bed and she would cry and I just wouldn't move. And I was exclusively breastfeeding. I was very committed to that, but it hurt and I didn't feel good and it didn't make me feel good. But I was sticking to it. And one of the things that he did, I remember to this day, I was just in the bed, like zoned out. She was crying. What he did was he brought her to me, gently took my breast out of my shirt, and he latched our baby. Sorry.
It's okay.
He latched our baby to me and sat there and held her so that she could eat. And just like the power of that moment when I was like, he is so committed to us.
Yeah.
And he like rubbed my shoulder and he made sure I was okay and he got me water and everything. And it's just the presence.
Yes. My gosh. What a super dad.
Yeah.
What a super husband, a superhero. Everyone out there, listen up. This is what you deserve.
You deserve it. You deserve it. And he was struggling too, he was a first-time dad. He had experience with kids, but like the love that he had, like he never faltered. Like we've been together almost a decade now and he's seen me at my worst, he's seen me at my best, and he's always supported me to be a good mom.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
It would have been so easy for him to just go get a bottle and formula and feed her, but he knew how committed I was to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
One of the things that I will say though is what I have 3 children also, and by the second one, I was like, we need a system. I was like,
Yeah.
because this is not working.
Yes.
Because like I would get mad because I'd be like, I'm waking up, you're waking up with me, and he was like, yeah, sure, like that's fine. But then we were both exhausted. So what I came up with was kind of like a shift change.
Yeah.
So he had to work. So what would happen was he would take the first 4 hours. So like let's say we went to bed at 9, he would wake up at 12, or he would stay up until 12. Not really stay up, but if he went to bed, he would wake up for the baby and bring her to me, or bring him or her to me to breastfeed.
Yeah. He was on call.
He was on call. And then when it was my turn, I would get up and go get the baby breastfeed and let him sleep because he had work the next morning. So doing those 4-hour shifts, changed the game.
Life-changing.
Yes.
Awesome.
That way, you have no expectations, instead of being like, I just got up, so it's your turn, but you know that it's your turn still because you're in that 4-hour segment.
Totally. Yeah, I think systems makes a huge difference. Whether that's even like systems like that where you're trading shifts, or even like systems for cleaning. Like I said, for me, I was doing a ton of pumping. And so it was like systems of who cleans what, when, and where do we keep stuff ready, and just having things that were predictable.
Yes.
Makes it much easier to get through this time.
Absolutely. And it alleviates the expectation aspect, because people don't know what you expect of them.
Yeah.
So whenever you put a cold cut like line of like, this is your job and this is my job, and if I can't do my job and you can do it, then you can do it, and I'll like trade off. It's one of those things where it just makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that's not to say that it has to be rigid, because sometimes those shifts flew out the window because I'm like, I'm just exhausted. Okay. Like, can you please just take over?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm totally there. We are getting over a flu. I don't know what happened. It was like one kiddo went down last week, and then 2 days later another one went down, and then so like all of our current systems are out the window. We're like you're just in like survival mode.
You're trying to survive.
Yeah, totally get that. All right, my dear, let's talk about key takeaways here. So when you talk about newborn expectations, what are some of your biggest tips?
Newborns are people, but they don't know how to people. They are brand new. They just spent 9 months swimming in amniotic fluid. They are learning everything. They are learning everything from scratch. So you wouldn't hand someone car keys that's never seen a car in their life and be like, okay, now drive it. That would be ridiculous. So expecting your baby to know how to feed. It's a learned experience. Yes, it's a natural process, but it's a learned experience. So they have to gain the muscles in their cheeks and their jaws and everything to be able to latch or to be able to take a bottle. So sometimes it's not as streamlined as like just put the nipple or the bottle in the baby's mouth and it'll drink. Sometimes it takes time. Your body is learning how to be a whole new human being too. So not putting expectations on your body. And just really, and it's hard to say because today's society isn't necessarily set up for healing, unfortunately. So we don't get the time that we need, but taking the time that you have is very important. So just sitting with your baby for the first few weeks of being like, who are you? What do you need? And how are you telling me this? Because there are thousands of videos online about like what each cry means, but you don't really know what your baby is saying unless you sit down and really listen, unless you get to know your baby. And your baby will communicate. Your baby will give you certain cries, certain sounds, certain coos to let you know what they need. If you take the time to sit there and really listen and experience your baby, even if it's for a few days, because maternity leave in the States and in the United States sucks. But even if you just take those few days just to kind of get to know your baby, things will be a lot easier.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else at this point you want to share on the Perinatal Roundtable for anyone who's in pregnancy or postpartum?
I want everyone to know that it's okay to not be okay. Sometimes things are going perfectly. There's not a care in the world. Everything's going wonderfully. There's no worries, but still there's just something, and that's okay. just don't let it snowball. Because as someone who struggled for 5 years, I could have got the help that I needed a lot sooner, but I didn't acknowledge it because I was like, this is just what it is. If you feel any inkling that you are not yourself, or that you're not coping as you should, please seek help. And if you don't know how to seek help, find someone who can help you. Doulas are great support. There's a lot of outreach in the community, especially here in Columbus. Just being proactive about your mental health and your physical health.
Yeah, I love that. Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Addie. This has been an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your heart and your expertise with us today. I really appreciate it. And for those watching, where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and my website. And for doula support through Moby Nurses Inc., you can go to mobinurses.com.
Awesome. All right, my dear. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us at the Perinatal Roundtable today. As always, I'll catch you in the next one.
Thank you.